Hello everyone, in this video we're going to create a simple addition quiz. Now what this is going to do is test the user's ability to perform simple addition in their head. So, we're going to our program is going to come up with two numbers and we're going to ask the user to calculate the sum of these numbers. We're then going to compare what the user enters with our calculated answer, and then we're going to tell the user if the answer they gave us is correct. So we're going to test people's ability to do addition. So, over in Eclipse now, I've created a new project called Addition Quiz, and right away we're going to add a new class to this. And I'm going to call this class Addition Quiz. And I will also get Eclipse to create a main method for me. Alright, so I'm just going to maximize this so we've got a bit of space. Now, because we're obtaining input from the user, we're going to use scanner. So we need to import it. Import java.util.scanner. And now down in our main method, we can start coding. So the first thing we're going to do is generate the two numbers that we're going to use. And how we're going to do this, it's kind of an interesting way. So int number 1, we're going to use the system current time in milliseconds method. So first we're going to do a typecast because this method will return a long int and we don't need that much precision. So we're just going to typecast it to an int. So this is what we're going to do. System.current time milliseconds. And then we're going to modulo that with 10. Now, why are we doing this? Well, let's think about what this line of code is actually going to do. If we just imagine we had 100 modulo 10. Now, we know that 10 divides very cleanly into 100. So 10 divided by 100, oh, other way around. So 100 divided by 10, we know that that's going to equal 10 with no remainder. So 100 modulo 10 is going to equal 0. Now, if we had 101 modulo 10, we know that 101, or 10 goes into 101 10 times with one remainder. So this is going to equal 1. And we can do this all the way until we get to 109 modulo 10. And that's going to give us the answer 9. And then once we get to 200, well, 200 and 10 divides 200 cleanly. So this is going to be 0 again. So what this line of code is actually doing is getting whatever the system time is, modulo 10, is going to give us a number between 1, or sorry, not between 1, between 0 and 9. So it's just a way of coming up with a number that's generated whenever our program runs. So the chances are it's going to be different each time the program runs. It's going to be between 0 and 9. So it's just a way that we can get a number that, and we don't know what it's going to be. So it's not going to be the same time each time the program runs. So we're getting a number between 0 and 9. And we kind of do this again. So int number 2. We're going to do almost the same thing. So int system.current time milliseconds. Now, what we're going to do here is multiply this by 7 and then modulo this by 10. The reason we're doing this is because if you think the processor in our computer is really, really fast, it can do these two lines of code, execute these two lines of code, probably in less than a millisecond. Well, I should hope it'd be definitely less than a millisecond. So what that means is that if we just had the two numbers that look like this, odds are they're going to be both the same number. So the answers, the quiz isn't really as fun if both of the numbers are always the same. So by multiplying this by 7 first, we're going to make sure that we're almost always going to end up with a different number for number 2. So it's just a way of making the number 2 different to the first number. So they're the two numbers that we're going to use in our quiz. So next step is to create a scanner so that we can get our input from. So create scanner. So scanner input equals new scanner, And we're reading from the keyboard, so it'll be system.in as an argument. Now, we're going to get input from the user. Before we do that, let's tell the user what we want from them. So system.out.print, and we're going to say, what is... Now we're going to close our string, and we're going to do string concatenation. So plus number 1 plus sign. Now a string, which also contains the plus sign. So that's kind of important. This plus sign here and this plus sign here are used for string concatenation. So we're joining this string onto this string onto this string. Now this plus sign, because it's inside a string literal, is the actual character plus. So that's not actually part of our string literal. So next step is plus number 2. And then we're going to put a question mark inside a string here, so the user knows what they're what we're asking of them. So we're going to have an int to store our answer, and this is going to be input. Oops, that's meant to be an equal sign. Input.nextInt. So we're asking them what is number 1 plus number 2, and then getting the answer from them. So the next step is to simply tell them whether they're right or not. So system.out.println. Now I'm going to start on a new line, straight away here to keep things a bit easier to see what's going on. So number 1 plus a string that has the plus sign in it, concatenated with number 2 plus sign. Now another string which has equals plus. Now we're going to tell them what their answer was. So answer. Now another plus sign and is plus sign. Now what we're going to put in here is, well, we need to actually calculate whether they're correct or not. And at the moment we don't know that. So what we need here is a Boolean expression. So a Boolean expression evaluates to either true or false, depending on what we give it. Now what we want to do is calculate this for ourselves. So we want to calculate number 1 plus number 2, and then see if it's the same as their answer. So how we do that? Well, the first step is we need to do some addition ourselves. So number 1 plus number 2, that's how we calculate our answer. Now we need to compare that to theirs. We want to say, is our answer equal to the user's answer? And the way we do that in Java is with 2 equals signs. This is the equality operator. And then with their answer. So we calculate our answer. Is our answer equal to the user's answer? That's what we need to do here. And we do that with the equality operator. Now, it's not to be confused with a single equal sign. A single equal sign is assignment, where we're giving a variable a value. 2 equal signs is equality. Ooh, I can write. Okay, so let's jump back over to our program and actually type this up. So number 1 plus number 2 equals answer. Now I'm going to put this back onto the previous line. And that's what we're going to do. Now this is a Boolean expression that's going to return either true or false. Now we can, just like we can concatenate an int to a string, we can concatenate a Boolean type as well. So this is going to actually print out true or false depending on whether the person got the answer right. So let's save that and run it now. So run as Java application. So what is 5 plus 5? Now off the top of my head, I know the answer is 10. 5 plus 5 equals 10 is true. Yes! We got the answer right. So let's run this again. Oops, I can just click on here now. So run addition quiz. What is 5 plus 5? Interesting. Let's type in 5. 5 plus 5 equals 5 is false. We put in the wrong answer. Now, just to show that the numbers are changing each time, because the last time they were the same, what's 8 plus 6? 8 plus 6 is 14. And it's true. So, hooray, our quiz works. So, finally, just to summarize now, what we did here was we create a simple quiz that tests the user's ability to add numbers together. Now, we obtained the numbers using system.currentTime milliseconds and then modulo that with 10 to get a number between 0 and 9. Now, this isn't a random number because it just depends entirely on the current system time. However, it's good enough for our example. We then used a Boolean expression, in this case the equality operator, to compare the user's input with what we calculated. So a Boolean expression is either true or false, and we can concatenate that with a string to actually print out true or false. So that's all for this video. Thanks a lot.